Los Angeles, a place that literally began as El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de los Ángeles de Porciúncula, founded by Mexican settlers in 1781.
Dijo que era traficante.
This was once Mexican land, and the people being targeted are often descendants of those who have lived here for generations.
Oh, what are we to do?
Or who came seeking safety, work, and dignity.
Wow, what a twist of irony. Touché, Californians. It turns out if anyone's gonna leave, it's gonna have to be you, actually, the non-Mexican Californians, because you know what? Newsflash, Mexicans was there first.
Big booty Latinas can stay!
Fascinating history lesson there. I bet you didn't know that California is in fact Mexico, because, you know, finders keepers. So, yeah, you can't send any illegal Mexicans. There are no illegal Mexicans. There can't be, because they're already in Mexico, all right? Leave them alone. That's that settled, done and dusted, right? It's funny, you know, growing up as a white person, you learn all this history, the Greeks, the Romans, the, I don't know, the Tudors, the Victorians, the Pilgrims, the Industrial Revolution, all of that kind of thing. And you think you've got a bit of a grasp of what's going on, you know? But then someone comes along, like this teacher today that we're looking at, and they blow the lid off everything, you know? It turns out that every single time...
a giant black guy did it.
Anyway, who is our professor for today's riveting lecture?
About the engineering of it all. I'm excited to learn more about STEM and just the math about what it takes to accomplish this type of thing.
If it isn't the celebrated international diplomat and astronaut, Katy Perry. Yeah, when Katy Perry speaks her mind on geopolitics, we here on the Daniel Boland Show listen, okay? In many ways, Katy Perry is this generation's Go Vidal. Though she's probably kissed a few more girls than he ever did, am I right? Go Vidal jokes. Bet you didn't expect that in today's video. Let's get into it.
Who's Daniel Boland? Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
About the engineering of it all. I'm excited to learn more about STEM and just the math about what it takes to accomplish this type of thing. I was winding down from a rehearsal the other day, and I was listening to Cosmos by Carl Sagan and reading a book on string theory, and yeah, I was like going to bed. That was definitely like helping. I was like, Pythagoras. But, you know, I've always been interested in astrophysics and interested in astronomy and astrology and the stars. I feel like we are all made of stardust, and we all come from the stars, and it'll be exciting to see them twinkle from that sight, and also have such an appreciation for Mother Earth when we see it in that way.
Well, I for one sure do have a newfound appreciation for Mother Earth, having lost those last 60 seconds of my life like that. But as you can see, Katy Perry is a woman with many strings to her bow. She likes listening to The Cosmos by Carl Sagan whilst brushing up on her string theory. And, you know, she loves Pythagoras and shit, astronomy and astrology. And she needed to know all of that stuff, of course, because as you'll remember, Katy Perry is an astronaut.
You are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
I feel super connected to love.
Yes, that's right. Katy Perry is an astronaut. If you'll cast your minds back to April and the lovely video I made about it, of course, Katy Perry went into space with Jeff Bezos' wife, Pete Burns. And Oprah Winfrey's wife, Gayle King.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a fuck.
Back in April, Katy Perry was an astronaut for about 11 minutes, and that's why she was reading up on Pythagoras and string theory and stuff, just in case, I don't know, in the 11-minute flight, a piece of triangular paneling came loose or something. She'd have been able to tell ground control the hypotenuse like that, you know? Or maybe they'd have seen a wormhole. Where would they have been if Katy Perry hadn't been listening to Carl Sagan for a couple of weeks before the flight? They'd have been up shit creek without a paddle. That's where. Now, that was then, this is now. Katy Perry has moved on. She's no longer an astrophysicist. She is now an expert in border security and Mexican-American geopolitics.
But being the intellectual powerhouse that she is, I'm sure Katy Perry won't mind me aiming a little bit of scrutiny at her claims. She said in her post that Los Angeles, El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles de Porciúncula, was founded by Mexican settlers in 1781.
Now, I'm sure most of you do not need me to explain, you don't need me patronizing you, telling you how what happens in 1781 stays in 1781. I think most of us are on the same page, right? You can't have Mexicans jumping over the border saying, I'm pretty sure there were some other Mexicans around here somewhere about 250 years ago, so I'm Californian. This is Mexico. That's not how the world works, obviously. I can't just go to Australia and say, I'm pretty sure there was, you're all kind of English, a lot of you, so I'm Australian. Obviously, the world doesn't work like that. But it's worse than that. It's more perverse. Katy Perry is saying that Los Angeles, or El Pueblo de la Reina, was founded by Mexican settlers in 1781. There was no Mexico in 1781. And I guess you could say, well, that's whatever. They're a Hispanic, whatever. But it's not. I mean, it's not like they have any kind of historical or spiritual connection to that land. Not that I care about that stuff either. Back in 1781, it was every man for himself. I'm sorry that my tribe had friggin' cannons and stuff, and you had flutes or whatever you fought with. I don't know. We won, basically. My point is that it's such a tenuous claim to anything. What is the point? In 1781, it was part of New Spain for a bit. The missionaries came over into what is now Los Angeles, and by the way, enslaved all of the native population, all of the Tongva people. You can look that up. They all died of disease or in bondage. So that was nice. And interesting point there that she's defending missionaries. We'll come back to that a little bit later in the video. Let's carry on with her other outrageous claims.
She reiterates this was once Mexican land.
Which it wasn't. That's bollocks.
And then she says that the people being targeted today are often descendants of those who have lived here for generations.
I'm never sure how deliberate people's stupidity is. So I don't know whether to give the benefit of the doubt here. I don't know how helpful anything I'm about to say is. But obviously that's fucking ridiculously stupid, what she just said. That the people who are coming into the USA illegally now are the descendants of people who lived for generations, millennia, in California. That's mental, obviously. I mean, logically, you would think that that's not going to be the case, because anyone who is a descendant of people living in California for generations is a US citizen. But I checked. I went back and looked at the history. The Spanish settlers, the missionaries, the ones that slaughtered and genocided all of the Tongva people in 1781, they were there for 30 years. And then Mexico gained independence from New Spain. And then about 20 years later, there was a war between the United States and Mexico. And Mexico had to give all of their territories, sort of the southern west states of the United States, to the United States in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Right? And they guaranteed all of those people that were in the US territories would have their property rights respected and that they would be US citizens. So I don't... What generations of Mexicans... it's like... Mexico, again, is the example. I remember AMLO, the president of Mexico, demanding that the president of Spain apologize for colonization, for the colonial era. And I'm thinking, but the Spanish people who are in Spain now are descendants of people who didn't go to Mexico. The ones who should be apologizing are the ones that are in Mexico, if anyone should be apologizing, which they shouldn't. I'm guessing that most of you feel that this is very obvious and I'm wasting your time, but I'm not sure it is so obvious to some people.
I love languages as acts of service. So it's like if I come downstairs and the kitchen is clean and you've done it all and you've done all the dishes and you've closed all the pantry doors, you better be ready to get your dick sucked. I mean, like, literally.
Yeah, no thanks, Katie. But I guess that answers your question as to how sincere his stupidity is. And also, just while we're on it, what are you allowing to happen to you, Orlando Bloom, her husband, right? You have to shut pantry doors and stuff. Whoa, that's disgusting. What have you become?
Prostitute.
That is my love language. I don't need a red Ferrari. I can buy a red Ferrari. Just do the f***ing dishes.
I'm obsessed.
I will suck your dick. It's not easy. Sorry. Don't you know?
I'm sorry to get off topic, but that really is, oh God, that is sickening.
Better be ready to get your dick sucked.
First of all, that you would say that in public, but that's a thing that you do. Is anyone in those kinds of relationships exchanging good behavior tokens for sexual favors? Yeah, very weird. But be that as it may, look, up until now, I've basically thought that Katy Perry is a bit of an airhead, but ultimately harmless, okay? She's just, I guess, clawing and clinging at her fading star, begging for relevance, you know, going up in the Jeff Bezos pod for 11 minutes and showing the track list for her tour, which wasn't selling very well, apparently. Look, I think I said in my last video, I understand. I know it must be difficult to go from sort of the biggest star in the world, which, to be fair, Katy Perry was for about 4 or 5 years, about 15 years ago. She was the #1 artist, industry plant. But she was cute, she was a sex symbol, and she had this stupid bubblegum music, which for some reason in the noughties and the early teenies resonated with idiots, I guess. And it was what it was. And she's at this awkward stage in her career now where, you know, post her divorce from Russell Brand, weirdly, her star really fell off, you know. Since about 2012, 2013, maybe 2014, the latest, she has been on a very consistent nosedive. Very much like Orlando Bloom, actually. He was like the biggest guy in the world for a while, wasn't he? And now they're at this very awkward stage where they're only like 40 years of age. And now anyone under the age of about 37 goes, ugh, what's a Katy Perry? I think I said that exact same thing in the last video. What's an Orlando Bloom? Ugh.
Did you know that a nun literally died in court fighting Katy Perry over a mansion? It was 2015 and Katy tried to purchase the stunning former convent located in California. Now this place was literally straight out of a fairy tale. It had chapels, gardens, fountains. It was beautiful. But the Sisters of the Immaculate Heart, who had lived there for decades, didn't want her to own it. See, this was their sacred space and they felt like they had the right to sell the home because this was a home that they purchased years ago. But the Archdiocese of LA wanted to sell it to Katy for $14.5 million. Katy even visited the nuns. She showed them her Jesus tattoo on her wrist and she sang them a Christian song.
See, I knew it. I told you something happened around 2015 to Katy Perry and now we know. the nuns cast an evil spell on her and now they're haunting her. Look, I didn't want to mention this, but I have to. Her appearance has changed quite drastically. Now, I'm sorry, and this is not free reign, by the way, for all of you maniacs in the comments to come after me and any slight defects I might have. That's not the name of the game here, okay? But Katy Perry, 10 years ago, very attractive, curvy, sexy, yes, very nice. Now, she's looking a little bit like the Schnapps Judderman.
Beware the Judderman, my dear.
And this is not an age thing. Don't start coming at me for being ageist or anything like that. She's only 40 years old. You know, I love Anne Hathaway. She's 42. You know, I feel it might be a little bit of Ozempic face or something. Something's not right. It's all got too stringy and... This is neither here nor there. I know. Let's get back to the video.
But the nuns weren't having it. They wanted to sell their home to a businesswoman by the name of Dana Hollister. Katy Perry and the Archdiocese of LA decided to take this to court and sue Dana Hollister for interfering with the sale, and they won. This is when things took a dark twist that nobody ever expected. In 2018, right before a crucial hearing, Sister Catherine Rose stood up and said this.
Katy Perry, to please stop. It's not doing anyone any good except hurting a lot of people.
Then she collapsed and died. Now, Katy never moved in and the home is still tangled in some legal drama. And people are wondering, like, did she actually try to go buy her dream home or did she go way too far?
I don't know how they go to bed and live with themselves at night.
So there you have it. She is a nun slayer too. I wonder if she was planning to have walls or security around her house, you know. I wonder if she'd have allowed the nuns to live with her, perhaps, you know, seeing as they've been there for generations and generations. The worst part about that was she went and showed them the Jesus tattoo. That's probably why the nun dropped dead. The shock that she must have felt at that harpy coming into her sacred walls with her Jesus tattoos, singing a Christian song. Ugh. I think my conclusion is Katy Perry is just a bit of an idiot. I don't think she means harm. She's just a moron. So let's have mercy on her. Not like those nuns, eh? They weren't taking it. There's probably more stuff to say, isn't there, about today's video? I didn't get round to half of the clips and stuff that I was supposed to get through, but it's very late. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed any part of this. You know, you must have enjoyed some of it. Some of it must have been all right. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. What are you doing here? What are we doing? And follow me on X and on Instagram. The links are under this video in the description. That way you'll know when I bring out another great video like this one. And if you want to help out with the channel even further, there's a link to my Patreon under the video too. And that's all. That's all I've got to say about this. I'll leave you with a lovely outro video like I always do. I'll see you in the next one.
When I was married to Katy Perry, I want you to elaborate on that marriage, says Godsmack147. What do you mean elaborate? Ask me a question. What do you want to know? Russell's ex almost went to outer space. Hey, all my exes. Get it? Hey, can I do this kind of joke anymore? Hey, every lady I've ever known gets a little trip to space. Can you do that after the charges? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Oh my God.
Okay.